Hi, Coach Howie here. I put together this quick video to help my athletes understand the basic fundamentals of swimming fast, the fundamentals that I think are the most important. So I'm going to talk you through 5 different things: body position, kick, catch, rotation, and timing. Try to give you some specific examples of each using a couple of my buddies help me shoot some video. So let's take a look at a picture of Ryan Otto. His really nice body position here. And one of the first things I want to point out is how flat his body is. From head to toe, his body's nice and flat to the surface of the water. This is going to help prevent drag. So notice nothing's dragging behind him like his legs. Another part of body position is having a nice long body and a tight core, because this is going to help you avoid fishtailing with the legs, which also will produce drag. So to review, I want to have a flat body to the surface of the water and also a tight core, long body to avoid side to side or fishtailing motion. Okay, the next thing we're going to look at is kick. Brandon's got a really nice kick here. First thing I like to talk about is a nice and tight, efficient kick. An analogy I use is kicking in a coffee can, because that makes you think of a nice small diameter around your kick. Because one of the things I see often is a big flare in your kick, which can produce a lot of drag. The next thing about his kick is that he's kicking from the hips. This is how swimmers kick. Most of us like to, especially triathletes, like to try to kick from our knees like we're running. But if you can kick from your hips, you'll get a lot more power, a lot more torque out of it. Imagine your legs are super long and you have to swing them from the hips. And finally, his toes are pointed back and he has some flexibility in the ankles. It's tough with us that have runner's ankles, but that'll create as much of a fin out of our feet as possible. So to review, you want a tight and efficient kick in a coffee can. Kick should come from the hips. Think of super long legs, and you got to swing them from the hips and point your toes and keep your ankles flexible to create fins. Okay, we're going to move on to the catcher. This is pretty complex, so I'm going to break it down into 4 stages. Ryan's done some great work on his catch, and one of our last camps he made some huge improvements. So what I'm going to do is talk you through 4 different stages. Let's start with the very beginning of the catch. The initial catch starts from the wrist. You could even say it starts from the fingertips. What this does, if you look at his wrist starting to bend down, he's creating a vector of force that's pointing backwards, which is generating force to move him forwards. One of the most common mistakes I see in the catch at the beginning is swimmers will push down towards the bottom of the pool, which really forces you up towards the top instead of driving you forward. So next we're going to move to the middle of the catch, the high elbow phase. Notice how Ryan's elbow is sticking out there, or I call it a 90-degree catch at the elbow. What this does is it creates a huge paddle from the fingertips to the elbow, and that's going to generate a very large set of vectors that are going to be driving him forward as opposed to up or down. So that high elbow creates a nice big paddle. Move to the middle. Catch sweeps in underneath the body for maximum power. This is kind of the wheelhouse of the catch. When it's right by the midline and close to the body, here's a front view of it. That's where you're going to generate the most power from your hips. If it's too far out or too far towards the bottom of the pool, you're going to lose torque and lose power. And finally, we're going to move to the finish. Little bend at the wrist there. You almost do kind of a J motion to create one last vector that's pointing towards the back of the pool and generating you forward. So use every ounce of that catch that you can. Watch it finish and swing over top here. Very nice. So to review, you want to start the catch from the wrist, fingertips actually, and even bend into the elbow from there, create a paddle, bring the catch nice and tight underneath your body by the midline, and then finish with one last push out the back, kind of a J stroke to get one last vector. move to rotation here. This is Ryan from the front. Basically, it's not too much to talk about here. We want to rotate on an axis through the middle of the head. The head stays fairly still. It's kind of like Ryan skewered through the head, and then we want to rotate so that the belly button will point towards the wall on each rotation. That's what you shoot for anyway. It's hard to go completely that way. So quick review, rotate on an axis to the top of the head. Shoot for pointing your belly button to the side wall each time. Notice that his core was nice and tight through that rotation also to create a nice straight line. Okay, the most difficult thing for me to explain here is timing. So I'm going to talk about a very specific point where rotation changes direction. So he's rotated left and right, and left and right. So that specific point where rotation changes is called the rotational transition point. So basically it's when your body stops rotating one way and begins rotating back the other way. It's a split second. But it's very important because that's where we want to start our catch or start our stroke to produce maximum power. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to freeze Ryan here right at his rotational transition point. Coming through, he's swinging right there. He's frozen. Now notice this is before of a foreshot. Notice his catch is already halfway through. We don't want that because he's losing a lot of power. At this RTP point, I'd like his catch to be out where the red line is, creating a maximum amount of torque. A lot of stretch in the lat there. So we worked on it and got him to begin his catch at the RTP. So I'm going to freeze him again right there. Notice how it's clear out in front now. He's generating maximum torque in his rib cage lats there. And all he has to do is now just let the hips rotate through and it's going to drive the stroke. So that's the next point of it, is let the rotation drive that stroke through. Slow it down here and show that again. That left hip is crashing down and whipping that arm through. And there starts the other one. One last part to timing is that you're getting this huge torque from swinging it through with your hips, so you don't want to lose that momentum. You let it go right out of the water right there, just let it swing. So right about there, the arm's swinging over top, the right arm, and that's generating a bunch of force for the rotation for the next catch. So you let that arm just swing and crash in. So right now is the left arm swinging to create torque for that right arm. So let it swing. So timing, begin the catch at the rotational transition point to create maximal torque. Let the rotation drive the stroke through, and then let the arm swing over the top, add power to that rotation. Hope this helped you out. Please feel free to contact me at my website, atpcoaching.com, and thanks to Brandon and Ryan.